Did you make New Year's resolutions for 2021 or set some goals for the year? Many of us did, and many of us might already be struggling to stick to them. So Sarah's here to help us sort through which goals to actually pursue and which to ditch. Hey, Sarah, we love to set goals, don't we?
Always. Me too.
Now, you say we kind of need to be a little bit more intentional about the goals that we set. So what does that mean?
It's good to be intentional about your goals at any time, but particularly this year, because many of us kind of limped into the new year with a little less energy than we normally would. And so we want to make sure we're not starting the year off by burning ourselves out too quickly. And so that really means two things. One is setting only a few goals. So it's always better to have like one goal that really means something to you versus five. They're sort of like flimsy and half-hearted. The other thing you want to do is you want to make sure your goals are realistic and doable. And I know realistic isn't exactly a sexy word, but it means you're not going to miss the mark and feel like an epic loser if you set a goal that's a little bit too ambitious this year.
Okay, so you talk about something called ambition amnesia. I love that. What does that mean?
Ambition amnesia is when you tend to set the same kind of goals year after year, and you notice that at the end of every year or anytime you set a goal, your goals always leave you feeling kind of like empty and kind of flat. Like your goals never really pay off in the way you want them to, but you kind of forget, and then you set the same goals again or similar goals again. For example, I used to set a lot of goals that were ultimately, and this is embarrassing, kind of about like impressing other people, getting other people's approval. And big surprise, like those goals never really felt that good for me. Yeah. Copycat goals are also not particularly satisfying. And that's when you kind of like look around you and see what everyone else is setting for goals. Like maybe you're like, oh, I see everybody's like trying to lose 10 pounds or get a promotion. Maybe I'll try to do that. But if it's not meaningful to you, it's not going to be a goal that actually feels very good.
That's right. Okay. I like that. Now, you also say we need to sort of drill down and focus, like decide which goals to focus on. What are we doing wrong here? Are we coming up with a list of 25 things?
Well, yeah, that's usually a problem. If you think about the way plants grow, for example, if they grow in many different directions, it actually stresses out the plant. So any good gardener will prune their plants to grow in good directions, but a few intentional directions. And so we should prune our goals so we can thrive as well, right? And so that usually means fewer, more finely tuned goals. And what happens very often is as adults, we sort of like accumulate goals and we start setting more and more goals, but we never actually take any old goals off of the plate, which is really important. So one thing I like to do, and I help my clients do, is to decide whether they want to keep or tweak or toss their goals. And a goal is something you should keep if it feels good, right? If it feels exciting, that's obvious. If there's something that feels a bit off about one of your goals, that's something you should probably tweak. A really easy way to mess up a goal is to set a timeline that's unreasonable. I mean, that's how I usually mess up most of my goals, like full disclosure, taking on too much at once, overly ambitious timeline. Now, if you have a goal overall that feels heavy or there's something, it's just sort of like feeling off about it or it doesn't feel meaningful, those are the goals that you should toss in favor of something else. So for example, maybe you don't want to lose the 10 pounds and you don't really care about getting a promotion, but you'd really like to spend more time in nature, or you'd really love to start writing. Get rid of those goals that are feeling heavy and instead put your energy into something that feels good.
Because then you'll actually do it, right? If you actually feel good about it and it feels like a good fit. Now, I love that you've done this. You've created a worksheet to help our viewers do just that. And we've linked to it on cityline.tv. Can you just tell us a little bit about it, Sarah? What's in the worksheet?
Yeah, it's all about this concept of ambition amnesia and taking a look at the goals, maybe even some of the goals that you set like a week and a half ago, and deciding which ones you want to keep, which ones you want to tweak, and which ones you want to toss. And bottom line, if your goals are feeling heavy, there's something that either needs to be tweaked or tossed. And doing that gives you some extra room for different goals that are a little bit more in alignment with what you actually want.
We're all evolving. That's what human beings do. So it makes perfect sense to look back, check in on those lists constantly and those goals, and like keep it moving. I love the way you're having us think about this, Sarah. Thank you so much.